Today we're going to be talking about dating and the effects that it has on our mental health and our ability to have success. I've been thinking about dating a lot in my life as a young man, as a biological being that wants to propagate my genetics. Everybody wants to procreate, man. Everybody wants to feel the love. But I think being in a romantic relationship is an important part of life. Having somebody to care about you and to love you. I think everybody wants that to some extent. And I've noticed, now I don't know if this is just the echo chambers online that I'm in, or if this is actually true. Anecdotally, I feel like it's kind of true. I have a lot of friends. I talk to my boys from high school, talk to my boys from college. I talk to boys, just talk to the boys, you know what I'm saying? We just about that. But I talk to people, and everybody's single. Why is everybody single? Why is nobody forming families? Why is nobody in love anymore? Everybody's just on their phones, scrolling away, and nobody's forming deep bonds. Now, obviously, that is a exaggeration. There are people that are getting in relationships, that are pairing up, that are building families, but it seems like there's a low amount today's. And I want to talk about the nature of high trust dating environments versus low trust environments, and how moving away from high trust communities and environments has negatively impacted the success of the younger generation, of my younger generation. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of Gen Z type shit. But anyway, I have some points here just to help me. I'm just kind of going off the top right now, but I have some points to help me keep my thoughts organized. First, that is when there's less community, people are forced into low trust environments that make people disposable. So think about, if you are in a high trust environment, this is going to be a community where you see people all the time. This is going to be schools, primarily school, high school and college. And in the United States, where you are driving around, we do not have like really walkable communities. That is like it. Basically, once you get out of these places, once you hit the ages where you are entering the workforce and you're no longer in school, it's basically over. The days of just being around young people, being able to just have girls everywhere that your age that you see on a regular basis, it becomes, it drops off a cliff, dude. The amount of interactions you have. It's still possible to find people. It's still possible to, join sports leagues. But first of all, a high trust environment, that's going to be where you're meeting people and you're seeing them over and over and over repeatedly, and you're building a relationship that way. And then a low trust environment, that's going to be like at a bar or going on online dating. And the problem with these low trust environments, with dating at the bar or dating online or stuff like that, is it's a lot more superficial. You don't know anything about the person, so you're judging them off appearance like fast, and that's it. You have no background context of who they are, who their family is, who their friends are. Basically, are you hot or are you not? And so there's great people, man, but they get overlooked because they're not even ugly, dude. This will be like an average looking dude or an average looking girl. Usually it's the guys though that I hear this from, but they'll be like an average looking guy, but he doesn't meet that top echelon. And so he just gets passed over, and he might be a funny guy. He might have a good personality, but the truth is he just doesn't make the cut. If you are still in an opportunity where you're in school, where you're in high school or college, you should take advantage of this opportunity where you're in a higher trust environment, where you're seeing people repeatedly and you have a lot of young people and friends and community around, because I feel like you'll probably have an advantage there than in a low trust environment. If you're at the pinnacle, if you're like really good looking, then online and stuff can work for you. But primarily for most people, it's just seems a little shaky, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if you guys have ever gambled before, that's going to be like playing roulette versus playing a double deck blackjack game where you're counting the cards and you have like you have a slight player edge if you're counting cards correctly. If you're playing roulette, you're just betting red or black. They throw the 2 green circles, or God forbid you go to Vegas and some of those on the strip have like the three green squares on them. It's over for you, dude. Your house edge is approaching like 6%, meaning like every $100 you bet, you're expected to get like 94 back. Like that's what gambling is. It's a house edge game. It's a losing proposition. But there's games that are better and worse, and like roulette is atrocious, like terrible game to play. Blackjack is going to be a little bit better, and then in some circumstances you can actually even have an edge for yourself. You're going to have the advantage if you know what you're doing. Not that I know how to count cards, but just a scenario. And so that's like kind of, you could compare that to low trust versus high trust environments. If you're going in a high trust environment, you're going to have more of an edge and you're going to have better odds of winning than if you're in that low trust environment and you're going to have just crazy, crazy competition. And then the other thing is that like there's no accountability and there's no shared context. And so you're just going to be treated like you're disposable, because in a low trust environment, you are disposable. You're never going to see, most likely, you're never going to see any of these people again. And so you just need to be aware of what it is. Like, manage expectations if you're going in a low environment, because a low trust environment, because you're going to probably be treated like you're disposable, which you just got to know what time it is. And then on apps, dating apps, I have not really used dating apps when I was younger. I got it recently just because my homie and I were like, let's look. And I will say, dude, the amount of like, it limits so much stuff. And from what I've read, you are paywalled so bad. Like, if you want to like have people actually see your profile, you got to pay. If you want to like send like certain types of likes and stuff, you got to pay. If you want to be able to match more people or see who've liked you, you got to pay. And so you got to think about this stuff. The owners of apps, of online dating apps, they're running a business and they want to increase shareholder value, which means if everybody got on the app, fell in love, got off the app, they wouldn't make money. And so the shareholders and the owners are not incentivizing, or they're not incentivized to have people get off the app. And so it's purposely rigged against you, and they know what they're doing to make you to keep hopping on and to incentivize you to pay and spend money on them. So just make sure you are aware of what's happening. They feel broken on purpose to get you to pay. That's the whole point. That's the whole business model. So my message is, if you are in high school or college, or you're a young guy between the ages of like, I don't know, 15 to like 23, if you're still in these social environments, build communities now, build lifelong friends now, because it's going to be harder the older you get. There's something about meeting somebody when you're a young person that is just different than meeting someone in the adult world. I feel like if you don't get reps in now, it's still possible. I don't want to like be all black-pilled and doomer and say that there's no hope for you, but if your first interaction with women is when you're like 30 years old at a bar, it's like it's like you're going into the boss arena. It's like you're gonna go fight Ganondorf in the boss arena and you got the freaking Deku shield. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're on the level 1 tutorial and you have no experience. It's not a good situation to be in. It's not that you can't learn and overcome that, but there's something about when you're young that you should definitely capitalize and utilize. Also, having friends is very important. If you get rejected and you have a buddy or a group of friends that you can go and just like laugh it off with, that's going to be so much better than if you're just alone, swiping alone, no matches, no matches, no matches, where you're at a bar, going to a bar alone, approaching that is, it's like a sheep going to the lion's den, dude. Especially if you approach a group, like, whew, gotta be careful. I've been going out more recently. I'm around a friend of mine, and he's a fun guy, and we've been having. I feel like I've just been more social recently. I've had more opportunities, and so I'll keep you guys updated on some of the experiences I have. And it's more just kind of for fun. Like, if something happens, that's cool, but some of it is just like just to see what the world's like out there. And I will tell you from some of my experiences recently, you just got to manage expectations. You got to be outcome independent. That's really what it is. You got to go and choose to do the activity. I'm going to go on to the bar. I'm going to go do whatever. And I'm just going to go and have a good time regardless of the outcome. You can't be too thirsty. You really just can't be too thirsty. You got to manage expectations and you got to be outcome independent. That's really the advice I can give for you. I'll have to pull up some stats sometimes, and we can dive deeper into this. But these are just some of my thoughts about high trust environments versus low trust environments, and why things appear to be getting worse. I mean, you could look at economic factors too, but just like birth rates are declining, marriages are declining, our culture is declining, and maybe being single is chill. You guys ever heard of? I guess it would probably be this way on the camera. You guys ever heard of Jill? Jill. Don't be hanging out with Jill so much. Maybe you should be hanging out with Jill. I don't know, but you just got to be careful. Having a deep relationship with someone. When I just think about experiences I've had and dating in the past, I'm not married right now. Full disclosure. But when I think about relationships I have had, it is a lot better than hanging out with Jill all day. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, twin? Game's rough out there. Best luck to every young man and young women. I mean, you got to look at it from both perspectives. Like, I feel like women have more options. Let's be honest. Like, the data proves this on dating apps and stuff. But I bet it's a little bit like sensory overload, dude. And you're still, even if you're meeting someone on the app, even if they're like really hot and you match with them, you still are meeting a stranger, and it's still going to be a little bit awkward than if you knew someone from the community. So I don't know the exact solution to this as far as on a global scale of how do we get back communities and culture like that. But definitely, if you are in an opportunity, if you find yourself in a situation where you have community and you have people your age and dating prospects your age, capitalize on it now, man, because as circumstances change in life, opportunity, it comes and goes. Doors open and doors close. So just whatever season of life you're in now, use it to your advantage. Let me know you guys' thoughts on the whole high trust versus low trust communities thing, and we'll see you in the next one.